What about crossing the equator? Tell us about that.
Well, crossing the equator, well, it's not my first time, so I had no big ceremony, but I did give Neptune a little bit of rum. I set up the cameras and everything just to film me crossing it, and just as we were getting close, I got in a squall, one of these typical little squalls that came. Had to be outside and deal with it all, and it rained a lot, and it wasn't very nice weather at all. And by the time I got back down below to look at the GPS, I'd crossed and missed the yellow line that's supposed to be painted in the water, and so anyway, it was fairly uneventful.
How do you feel? Because of course you've got to go a long way before you go back across that equator again.
I don't know. It's a long race that we're doing, and I'm very much, I don't know, I'm racing against lots of people that are doing a single-handed round the world race, but it feels kind of odd because I'm just doing 5 races in a short space of time that happen to take me around the world. Because when I talk about a single-handed round the world race, it just sounds too big and too much.
How about the doldrums? How did you deal with them, and what was your strategy going through them?
Well, my strategy with going through them, I saw a low pressure system just at the corner near Africa, and as I was getting closer, I was hoping just to follow down the edge of it. It did move quite quickly, but there was a lot of associated squalls and things, and I'd rather stay in the squally part and have uncomfortable weather than trying to go through the lighter patches. So that was it really, just to get close. Although I knew I was going to get horrible squalls, it was better to stick with them and try and ride as many as I could.
From the wind point of view and your mast climb, what was it like? What sort of wind did you have there?
I started off with a steady 10 knots and beautiful weather, and I had a kind of squally weather on the horizon, but it was looking a lot more constant than it had done. And while I was up the mast, I suppose just the amount of time I was up there, I got, well, it must have been about 25 knots. The water certainly looked enough white horses on it to tell there was quite a fair bit of wind. And it was so uncomfortable.
And you were well bruised?
I was well bruised. It wasn't very nice at all. Even by the time I got down from the mast, I already had a fair bit of colour in my arms.
What was your greatest fear then in that particular episode?
My greatest fear was breaking something. Because while I was up there, the number of times, just for a second, you can lose your grip or something, you're flung away from the mast, and when you come back in, just the speed that you come back in and you hit the mast or the rigging, a number of times I wondered whether my ribs would survive, or even my back. There was a couple of times I hit my back and my shoulder blades and just thought, oh, if something like that had happened, I wouldn't have made it down. So.
How do you feel about the wind and the power of it? Has it changed?
No, since my very first offshore racing, because I started in bigger boats, I had a very strong respect of the wind, and it's something that you can never lose. You can't even falter for a moment of just losing that respect. So.
And how much wind is too much wind?
Too much wind can be as much or as little as 15 knots if you've not got the right sails up. So just too much wind is whatever you're not prepared for.